Hello my friends, welcome to the Metal Shop Garage. Today I am installing a Lange Originals Hoist-A-Top Simple to lift the Jeep hardtop, which has been living here in the corner of the garage, sitting on kickboards. So I kind of already got a jump on it. There's a bunch of good videos online of this installation. It's not really going to be a how-to, really just kind of a brief overview. Hadn't really intended on doing this project, but I kind of jumped into it and realized, oh, I should be making a video here. So what have I done? I have already mounted a block of wood here between the studs, approximately 50 inches off the floor. Now, they want you to use a 2x6 and mount it on top of your studs, which is fine. I had this leftover LVL, this laminated veneer lumber, or a micro lam, whatever you want to call it, from this garage project. I like to put it in between the studs for kind of a cleaner look. This stud here was so warped that I had to put a shim in here. I had to hammer it in on the back, and there was a big gap on the front. Anyway, so 50 inches up, you mount that block, and I'm in the process of mounting this with lags, with huge 3/8 inch lags to this block, and I needed to remove this kind of this roller fair lead type of thing here. Funny, everything is standard SAE sockets, but this is metric to take off. 10 mil, of course. So we got this. I have a couple other LVLs already cut and measured. I don't have a ladder big enough to reach the ceiling, 14 feet up. So I'm gonna finish this project tomorrow. I'm gonna use my son's truck and put the ladder in the back of his truck just to mount those blocks. Now my blocks, you see the ceiling joists go opposite the regular studs there. So what I'm gonna do is I cut these pieces here, these blocks to mount, those are I-beams. So they'll nestle in the I-beams, and I'll screw up from the bottom just to hold them in place. The I-beam will provide a tremendous amount of lifting support, much more so than if you were to screw them to the face. Kind of just like I did the lights here. I don't know if you can see that. They're tucked in between the joists, and there's really just the screws are just to hold them in place. Like I said, all the power comes from being mounted into that I-beam. So tomorrow we're going to mount, we have to mount the pulleys to these blocks. We're going to mount these, one block you choose as far away from the crank as you want, as you're going to have the top, and then the other one, the next pulley forward, is 34 inches ahead of that, which is perfectly, you mount one in one stud bay, and then skip one, and the next one, 34 inches, will put you right in the center. And that works for a standard sized hardtop. So I'm gonna finish this, and I'm just gonna mount the pulleys to those blocks, and then I'm gonna quit for the day. All right, so I'll catch up with you in a couple of minutes. All right, so this is day 2. I'm already running out of daylight. I don't know where the weekend goes. I'm busy. This is probably going to take me into a third day. Overall, the project probably from start to finish is probably only like 3.5 hours. But anyway, so I was here yesterday, got that mounted on the wall, and I realized that up here, that triple plate at the top of the wall studs means it drops the ceiling height. The angle for that double pulley that you can see right there, in order to be, kind of perpendicular with the ceiling, it has to be mounted to that plate. If I mounted it inside the wall cavity like I was going to, it would put it down too low. You figure stuff like this out. Everybody's garage is different. I'm not sure I'm going to have enough wire as well, because like I said, I have 14-foot ceilings. So this run from here to there, that's like 8 feet. Then from here to, the second mounting point is another 8 feet. How far is it going to drop down to pick up the top? I guess we'll have to wait and see. So I do have my son's truck in here to use for staging. Got the ladder mounted in it. And again, I also realized that, now these are the blocks that are going to go in between those I-beams, but I had to drop the pulley down because if you mount those blocks up in the cavity of the I-beam, now they're above, now the pulley's up too high, and that wire is going to hit your ceiling. So very custom installation. Well, I still have just the smallest amount of daylight. I'm going to get those mounted up in the I-beams, you know, where they're supposed to be. I've already had the Jeep in here and kind of eyeballed it just to make sure that we're all going to fit. One other thing, I did use here, I got 2-inch lags to bolt the pulleys to the wood. You know, the kit, so to mount this, you know, the crank to the wall, they give you 3-inch lag screws, huge 3-inch lag screw, 3/8 by 3-inch lag screws. To mount the pulleys in the kit, they give you, it's essentially, they call them wood screws, but they're drywall screws, you know, 4 drywall screws. And this is still going to have the pull of that top, all that weight is going to be on these pulleys. So far, you know, I'm not super impressed with the quality. This wire, I know this wire is super strong, plus you're doubling it up. I believe it's 1/8-inch wire. And the clamps, this, you know, the little C clamps that they use, those aren't really that great. I may end up upgrading the wire. And you might look at this and be like, this is all overkill for a top, you know, that weighs like 150 pounds. But my way of thinking is just build it completely stronger than it needs to be. And I could use this lift for something else one day. You know, maybe there's a heavier top one day that has to be lifted. Maybe, I mean, you're not going to lift an engine with it, but I would say comfortably, the way I'm building it, you know, instead of lifting a 150-pound top, if I upgraded everything, I could lift something that, you know, weighs in the 300-pound range. So, you know, overkill is the way I do things here at the metal shop. So I'll stand by. We'll get these blocks mounted up in the ceiling, and maybe I'll join you in a little bit, and maybe tomorrow. Cool. All right, my friends. So you can see we're working by shop light here. Still no electricity out here. I really wish that I'd sprung for the LED instead of this old school halogen. Holy crap, but I can use this thing for a heat lamp, I suppose. Anyway, so we got our blocks hung. We've got our strap and our hook hung on there. They gave me 3 of those clamps. The instructions only showed 2, but they gave me, 6, so I used them all. Why the heck not? Looks like I am going to have enough wire. It can be adjusted here. Apologize for the shadows in the light. Can be adjusted here. You know, you move it side to side. I've heard some guys use, you know, cordless ratchet on this for ease of movement up and down rather than crank it. I guess it goes really slow. Yeah, you can see that's pretty slow. So we're gonna have to wait until tomorrow to give you guys the money shot. I'll back the Jeep in here, we'll hook it up, and we'll hoist this thing up. Oh, I will say one thing. So the front pulley, for, you know, the front pulley section, they say to put it 1/2 inch off center. That thing is, it's probably like 2 inches off center to clear that front pulley. You'll figure that out immediately when you go to attach this thing to your ceiling, which is the biggest pain in the butt working above your head. Anyway, so sorry, we'll wait till tomorrow for the money shot. I am out of daylight. This place is just a disaster in here. And you know, but overall, you know, it's looking pretty good here. This hook is supposed to keep the window closed when it lifts it up too. We'll see how that works. So the Lange Originals Hoist-A-Top Original. We'll hoist the top up tomorrow. Cool. All right, so it's the next day. And I'm gonna tell you what, for my application, those cables are snug. I mean, I don't have an inch to spare. I was able to finagle the hook. I don't know, they got some kind of creative name for this awesome hook that slides in through here. It's supposed to keep the window from going up and down. I honestly don't see how that works, because the window will go up and down just fine. And this is how this has to be, wrapping around just like so. Maybe, I don't get it. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. So what you have to do, you remove all your bolts, all your header bolts, and one person's supposed to be able to do this. You can lift this up, you slide the straps under, and then you have to use what they call these elevator bolts. And this part here, this huge flat washer attached to this bolt that's keyed, goes to the bottom, then the washer goes to the top, then you flip the strap over. It's got a grommeted hole in it. You bolt, this goes through, then the washer, then the bolt clamps down to the top. Just the wing nut holds the strap over once you go. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see this or not. My seat doesn't flip forward anymore because of the harness. Apologize for the bad camera work. There, you can see that right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the other one situated on the other side. Not gonna be able to show it really. I mean, pretty simple. Flip it over, put the thing together, and we'll give this thing a hoist. Stand by. All right, so here we are. We're ready to do the test. One quick performance note. The instructions clearly state that for the two-door, you are to use the strap hole, the second strap hole back. For the four-door, you are to use the first strap hole in your hardtop. Now, rather than demonstrate this for the first time on camera, to have this thing come crashing down, I tried it first. And using that second strap hole makes no sense whatsoever. All right, you can see where the strap is right now. It was here. It wouldn't lift. It lifted, and I'll insert a picture here. It was completely off kilter. I mean, it was such a bad angle. I mean, it needs to be in that first strap hole to lift evenly, all right? So I don't know what the heck they're talking about in the instructions. I might call the company. They said they're a family-owned company and made in USA and everything else. So I may give them a call and say, what's the deal? The Jeep's not perfectly lined up. You can see the carnage of tools down here. This thing also goes super duper slow. So I'm gonna crank it up, but it's nice because the crank is here and the Jeep is right here, and I can actually run the crank, and you can kind of guide this a little bit because where the strap came around the top on one side, I had it catching on the roll bar. So I'm not gonna crank this to the ceiling just because you guys don't have that kind of time. But here you can see, I don't know if you can tell, it's barely moving. We're not catching on anything. So if you want to store this thing up in your rafters, ooh, that's squeaking. I'm gonna put a little grease on there. Didn't really squeak there the first time. Yeah, see, it's catching over there. I'll show you real quick. Did this when I did my test run too. Just here where the strap kind of goes around, it just kind of catches a little bit. It's caught on the roll bar. And there, you can see it. I'm not gonna bore you with a big, I should set up a tripod and do a nice time lapse. But there, you can see that it's free. I'm gonna crank the thing up a good ways. Like I said, it doesn't need to go to the rafters, just up high and out of the way. I will call a company and be like, what's the deal? And I'll report back if I have any findings. So I'll close this out. As always, my friends, I appreciate you watching. I am back on the Jeep, so the videos on the Jeep seem to be much more popular. I do appreciate your support. I appreciate you watching. Please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel. Share my video. And once again, thanks for watching. Take care, my friends. Lange Originals Hoist-A-Top Simple. Oh, that thing in the back, they call it a smart hook. I don't know how smart it is. Really doesn't stop the top from swinging open. All right, cool. Take care.